Yes, it's a fresh edition of the program Summit. My name is Banji Busari. Of course, it's the first working day in the week, and we are here doing what we know how to do best, giving you the best information across the globe, particularly what's happening and trending in our country, Nigeria. You are welcome. Jumake, for one reason or the other, is not here today, but I can tell you that on Wednesday, by God's grace, she will be joining us. Well, the news, the breaking news, which has actually been the APC has come out with a counter information that the news trending is actually fake, that there's a change in leadership of APC at the headquarters, that news is fake, and that the APC is a very democratic party that will not do anything against the law and against its constitution. You are welcome. But let me tell you that so many issues are equally trending in the polity today. Of course, all of us are aware of what happened over the weekend, following the distribution of the PMS at a public function, at a social party in Lagos, where PMS was being distributed at a function. Of course, so many reactions have actually trailed that action, and the woman at the center of it is also answering questions now why she would choose a public function to distribute PMS. Obasanjo turned 85, yes, 85, that's 4 scores and 5, and they celebrated across the globe. All the who is who across the globe came to celebrate with this octogenarian, that's former president, former head of state, Nigeria, Chief Olusegun Okikiolu Obasanjo at 85. That will also come on this edition of the program. And don't forget that tomorrow is International Women's Day, and the most trending one is that women are all out, angry, and they're ready to actually fight for what they believe is their own, particularly concerning the gender bill that was rejected last week by the National Assembly. So many issues. Yes, I can assure you that it's going to be an exciting edition. Joining me on this edition is our friend, a learned guru, a learned man, a learned guru, a barrister at law, talking about Barrister Jide Ologun. It's our pleasure, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Banji, and good morning to all our viewers.
Our hands are full.
Absolutely.
Our hands are really, really full. But of course, these are issues that will interest Nigerians. So we want to actually touch on each of this. I'm sure you are not also oblivious of what happened concerning the PMS that was distributed over the weekend. Some people have said that, well, it's the consequence of the lingering fuel crisis. The lingering fuel crisis will definitely come with consequences. People spend days at filling stations to get fuel to power their cars and then to power their generating sets at home and all. So in desperation, people go overboard to get it. Maybe this is one of the fallout. The woman felt that she was probably providing relief for Nigerians by providing PMS. So that's one of the fallout. But let's look at the lingering fuel crisis. Would you have believed that this crisis would stay this long?
Definitely, I should say yes, because we have not done much in trying to engage the problems at the fundamental level. We have always been paying palliative attention to the crisis, and the human society keeps expanding in terms of crisis engagement. So if by now the report is that we have functional refineries, we would have been able to bring down or even cut off the cost of importing fuel. Even if we are discussing subsidy, it may be at the marginal level, and we have productivity to back up the economy and be able to make more people prosper than making more people go into poverty. But as much as we have not done that, then we are exposed to external shocks. And that is why when this came out, I came up with about 3 postulations, one of which is what played out. That may be an attempt for the government to increase and say, okay, now that we are debating the increase, let's throw up a scarcity crisis and people will now be begging. So it's okay, just give us, we'll pay any price for it. And don't forget, most recently, the pump price rose to as high as 250, 205. Some are even saying they are paying about 400 naira per liter in some parts of the country, perhaps including the Federal Capital Territory. You see, then the government came out with another postulation that somebody imported contaminated fuel. That is, and that caused the scarcity. Now, who has been held accountable for that breach of trust? We have the NNPC, we have the Minister of State for Petroleum, we have the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces himself, who has assumed the office of the substantive Minister of Petroleum. So, who actually, and at the point of alleging importation of contaminated fuel, some organizations denied we are not, and basically it is the responsibility of NNPC to manage this. So, and again, until and unless we do the needful, we'll not be able to curb what is going on now, because another issue came up that Nigeria could not even ascertain the liters of petroleum consumed on a daily basis in the country, benchmarking it with the subsidy. So you see a giant subsidy now that is fueling the greed of the corrupt at the expense of national development, and at the end of the day the masses suffer for it and the economy suffers for it. And right now this has been capped by the rising crude oil price in the global market because of the Russia-Ukraine war that is ongoing. Right now, the crude oil is about $118.11 per barrel, and it's only producing nations, wise nations, that will benefit from that. So, and in fact, the country director of World Bank has warned us that to sustain the subsidy that we claim to be suspending in another 18 months, that to sustain it we may need about 4 trillion naira, annually, and that's a huge amount of money, particularly when we already have a budget deficit of I think about 6 trillion naira. So we need to migrate to wise management of resources and proactive engagement of governance value, so that when these external shocks begin to visit us, we can minimize the impact of the people. But by and large, we have not shown any seriousness in that direction.
What happened over the weekend is certainly one of the fallouts of the lingering fuel crisis, and so many tons whacked. The Nigerians were actually angry at the event where Chief Mrs. P.L. Chidima Ogbolu was being conferred with a chieftaincy title in Lagos here, and the PMS was there. Let's look at what to actually push people to that extent, so much so that they think fuel PMS is what should be served at a public front. Is it a breakdown of law and order, or what could have led to that?
It's a combination of many forces. Personally, I consider gifts on the basis of need. If I'm giving you a gift, I want to know whether you need it or not, because from research, there are many persons who get to their homes or offices, you see gifts dumped in a corner that people have brought to them that they don't need. Some of them are kind enough to give out to others, some just dump it in a corner. And now, the person who gave petroleum out as souvenir would have thought, how will these people come for my party? Fuel may hinder them. Okay, don't worry, you get fuel when you come, whether she promised them or not. And the organizer would have felt that rather than give them plastics and stickers and fan that they will take home, give them fuel now. At least, rather than going to queue at the filling station, they can have fuel to either power their vehicles or their generators. Because don't forget, while we are shouting about fuel scarcity, electricity is also scarce. So Nigerians are embattled on many fronts without considering the danger of distributing PMS in a social function. And it also touches on regulations. So how vigilant are we? So
don't forget that following COVID-19, that's when the Lagos State government waded in, and they put in place laws to guide the public functions. Security laid down rules. Now, what do you not see a certain, maybe a kind of negligence, or what could have actually led to? No Lagos State government has waded in now. Arrests have been made. But do you not think that something went wrong, even with the safety commission and some other government agencies that needed to have actually ensure that these regulations were followed?
In public relations, you talk about crisis management. You can either be proactive, and at that point you engage at the point of issues, or you are reactive, and at that point you engage when the crisis has blown. And I think proactivity did not come in here. And like you demanded to know, there should be intelligence networking from the government. It's okay, we relate with these event centers. Please monitor the trends. So at the point the event center started seeing people bringing petroleum products branded, then somebody should have been contacted. Because let's ask a simple question. Let's assume one of those jerry cans caught fire. What would have happened? So there is a need for that follow-up. But is the follow-up there? That's the big question. And at the national level, we have the Standards Organization of Nigeria. We have various stakeholders managing our oil and gas value chain. So how did some people succeed in bringing contaminated fuel into Nigeria? These are big questions. So it's either the system was compromised or the system is defective. And that's why we need to upscale. You see, the same questions people are asking: why should a super cop be involved in trying to aid, drug businesses and fraudulent activities? The same question I am still asking: why should the Nigerian customs officer give rise to bandits that are criminals terrorizing the land? These are big questions. Big questions. So we need to upscale our systems profile as a nation, as a state, as a society, and be proactive about it.
Well, so much noise has been made about this incident, but like the ones before it, do you expect government to actually take very strong steps against the culprits there?
I expect it. When you have laws and your laws are not implemented, you are as terrible as those who don't have laws. But back to precedents that I make reference to. In Lagos State, there is a law against traffic trading, street trading. I think the fine is 90,000 naira. But as we sit in this studio right now, can someone please drive from the middle of Bank Anthony Way in Ikeja down to Maryland, and if there is traffic, if you cannot count 100 street traders on the road, please send me out of Lagos. Go to Allen Junction when there is traffic. Go to Ikoyi after Rwanda. So you have laws that you cannot implement. You see what happens when a group will just take over the bus stop.
Is it that some of us are bigger than these laws that you are referring to?
Absolutely. The rule of law has no place of pride in Nigeria. It's obvious. And you can only be prepared for chaos when you don't allow the rule of law. And we make comparison. Such things are not allowed in other countries. Not at all. You cannot just go to Dubai, then put a stove by the roadside and begin to fry yam. Now fry pepper that people should come and eat. No. No. Or just set up.
You don't regard that as the enterprising spirit of Nigerians.
It's poverty-driven enterprising spirit. And I say this with all sense of humility. If the economy has been managed in a way that the security and the welfare of the people are well catered for, we won't have the cases we have in Nigeria. It's disturbing, sir. It's disturbing. By the grace of God.
So what's your, as we wind up on this topic, what's your recommendation to Lagos State government? Because I understand Lagos is on top of it. But how far do you think they should go?
My recommendation is implement your laws. And don't let it appear as if some are above the law. And this time around, we are not saying that by virtue of their political status. For example, why should a decent vehicle be subjected to roadworthiness test when there are so-called downfalls on the road that are prima facie on the face value terrible to be on the road, and they drive everywhere, no one stops them? So let the law apply to all. That is when you can have a civilized society. If we don't begin to engage with the rule of law, Lagos may become a slum or jungle. It's beginning to happen. You just see some young ones go into a community and take over, begin to threaten people. They are ready to draw out daggers to stab anybody. They hang out selling drugs in Keke Maruwa. They just take over. No! Let's begin to profile. I have suggested we have the CDA, in some places we have the CDC, we have the world level, we have the local government level. Profile the people in your community. If it is difficult for some to legitimately remain in Lagos, let them go back to their state. The constitution says you can live anywhere, but you don't have to become a threat to anybody. If not, this case will be becoming more difficult for the government. And let me advise, some will say they are the ones who will vote. When you clean up the environment, voting took place in January recently. They have changed their president. So why must you? So you now say because if your roof is leaking, you will gain $4. You must leave it to leak. When if you seal that roof that is leaking, you can gain $3 million. So let's do what is right, so that we don't mortgage the future of this community. Some of us are concerned. We are worried. We are worried. We are worried. So if those who cannot comply with the laws of your society are becoming troublesome, let them go back to where there is lawlessness. Lagos should not be a lawless community, or any other
Nigeria should not actually be a lawless
Definitely,
country.
yes.
Well, thank you very much for your thoughts on this topic. As we move on, let's look at Obasanjo at 85. It was a moment of celebration. And I actually joined him to say, Baba, happy birthday to you, although in arrears, but I believe that you are watching us. And I say you live many more years on the surface of the earth and contribute meaningfully more to the progress and development of this country. He actually seized the opportunity of the moment to invite world leaders to Abeokuta. And the theme of the presentation was African narrative, that we must begin to project Africa from Africa's perspective to the world. And let me just quote part of what he said. He actually did say that we must make ourselves essential contributors to the world civilization, world ethos, world development, and world preservation system, where there is wholesome world recreation and so on and so forth. In other words, he's saying that we must not just be recipients of what other people have done. We must also contribute, ensure that we contribute to world economy, world development, world recreation, and so many more. So many leaders of Africa and the world joined him. And he also seized the opportunity of the moment to actually concentrate on Nigeria, why we are where we are. He spoke about 2023, that some of the presidential aspirants should actually be in jail. Some of the people presenting themselves for leadership in 2023 should actually be in jail. and that if care is not taken, if we are not very careful, Nigeria may not exist in the next couple of years. So many issues actually came out of those presentations. But I'm sure you are going to start by congratulating the octogenarian.
Absolutely.
At 85.
Baba is living an enviable life, a man of great honor and dignity, particularly with that global respect he has earned for himself. And we are proud to have an icon like Chief Olusegun Obasanjo as a Nigerian, you know, and I have not recovered from the excitement that at a point in time this man paid up the indebtedness of Nigeria. I mean, I'll never forget that, you know, particularly when I realize now our indebtedness in the threshold of about 34 trillion naira, and we are looking towards a bleak future if that continues. And again, he is the one that handed over to democracy, you know, that okay, let's jumpstart democracy. So in many, God has honored him, military head of state, civilian head of state, and it was during his time that a top police officer, his friend, was jailed for corruption. So if Chief Olusegun Obasanjo speaks about fighting corruption, I think he deserves our listening to him. He's a man who did not tolerate nonsense in office, whether you were his friend or not. You know, I recall a man very close to him who was trying to play smart in Aso Villa. He told the man that I will send you out of here, and if you are not careful, I'll make a small window where your children will come and be greeting you in the prison. But he tried his best. He's out of office now, actively, but expressing his influence. And I can let you know that some will also rather listen to him than listen to some past leaders, you know, when those ones are passing their comments. And don't forget, as part of the challenges we have now, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo said there may be a Fulanization agenda of Nigeria. And for those who have opened wide their eyes, you must check those comments. It's a man who will speak. And I also love him for being jovial. You know, Baba likes his kola nuts, and you know, highly traditional man, and he's an all-rounder. And with respect to the elders, you know, Ebora, and you know the meaning of Ebora, when somebody is an enigma, you know, Baba, may you live long, and may your legacies become a light for others to shine. And as per what he has said, that if the judiciary, the law enforcement agents are serious, some who are parading themselves for leadership should be in jail. I think that is a sacrosanct issue, and I know that that is constitutional. Section 15 subsection 5 of the Nigerian Constitution.
Could he have done better by mentioning the names of those people he had in mind?
He doesn't. Baba did not need to mention names. You know, right now, Malami, the Attorney General of the Federation, has not mentioned the names of the sponsors of Boko Haram. But by some recent developments, some of us know some of the sponsors of Boko Haram. You know, so it's a very clear. He's just advising. I think I respect Baba. Some people in his shoes would have just gone to one corner. He has his security details. He has his full pensions, and you know, but he's still concerned about the nation. So, and I pray that those who have ears will listen to the elders, and then the future leadership will also look back, connect with the past, connect with where we are, and foresee a future. You know, and so
it's widely said that before you remove the log in other people's eye, you must actually start with your own. Now, people are saying that he did not also lay sound foundation for succession. When you talk about democratic succession in 2007, people are saying that he actually handed over to a man who was not prepared for leadership. That's part of our problem. If he had had a good governance in 8 years, why would, for instance, he hand over power to somebody who is ill prepared to serve?
You know, I leave that to him. It's personal. And like a former governor said, that may your loyalty not be tested. As human beings, an average human being has his selfish areas in life, and it's not all the decisions you take that will be perfect. He took that decision for political reasons, just like somebody also decided to annul the June 12th election, and I doubt if he's comfortable with that decision today. So, and that is one of the reasons why he has the license to advise towards the future. They did some things out of pressure, out of, but we are all seeing the results now. And we can all just be concerned about a brighter future. It's not even only that. When you talk about corruption, I doubt if there is any segment of leadership in the country that can be exonerated. At a point in time, this present regime even accused the regime of Chief Olusegun Obasanjo of collecting, is it $12 million or some billions of naira for electricity without having electricity.
16 billion.
Through the value chain of managing Nigeria, we've had excesses, but at least one regime has been better than the other. And in all this, it's just a way of looking forward to say, okay, now, where do we go from here? So for the likes of us, I join my prayers with those of other Nigerians and people around the world. That may we begin to have the likes of Paul Kagame that will unite the people.
Incidentally, Paul Kagame delivered the keynote address.
Exactly, he's a brilliant example in Africa, And John Magufuli did his own before his maker called him home, in changing the narratives. And we know the narratives in Nigeria now: polarization, terrorism, different kinds of crime, poverty, and that should not be associated with the nation. So I believe that even with his imperfections, he still has the leverage to advise. And like I said, it's an advice,
But can we actually change the narrative, that's from the global perspective, about us in Africa? I mean, when you look at our leadership, have we shown exemplary leadership? The world or the West sees us as leadership that can never produce anything good for our people. Can we actually change that narrative?
Of course, and that is a clear thing. Like you said now, let's assume the world sees us as having leadership that cannot help
Our people.
But we help their economies. Okonjo-Iweala is there, the DG of World Trade Organization. You see, Dr. Adesina is heading the African Development Bank. We have Nigerians doing very well across the world. So I think it's more of a pity. And you people, you have resources, you have, the potentials. What exactly is wrong with you? And I think it's the superstructure element that we are not been able to put right, because infrastructure is different from superstructure. When you spend billions of dollars building infrastructures and human beings, the superstructure, come to blow it off, then your priorities are not right. And when you don't allow the laws of the land to effectively regulate the people, then you are wasting your efforts. I want to ask a question this morning. I throw it to the elders, I throw it to the young ones who are willing to research. Can we say Nigeria was better under the colonialists in terms of, management of our oil and gas and things like education, health facility, and things like that? Then we are now. So that answers that question. Can we get angry when the world sees us as a people who cannot help ourselves? Look at the Ukrainian case. Some Nigerians are saying that they would rather remain in Ukraine than come back to Nigeria. In fact, some Nigerians in Nigeria are craving to go to Ukraine despite the war. So you look at, the rate of inflation, the rate of unemployment, the rate of kidnapping, the rate of crime, and things like that. You see, so we can change this narrative. Ghana was once a nation you did not want to reckon with. In fact, at a time, we disgracefully chased them out of Nigeria. But go and check the economic profile of Ghana now, even though they have their own challenges. I just mentioned Rwanda. Rwanda was like hell. And a leader rose up and said, no, we need to create a new narrative. And he started. Let's move out of Africa. Singapore left Malaysia in 1965. as a little coastal region with little resources. And through the leadership of Lee Kuan Yew, Singapore is one of the best places to live and to work in the world today because they maximize resources. The UAE, Sheikh Zayed, translated that desert to a paradise before going to be with his maker. And they are in autopilot of prosperity. Do you know how much the UAE makes from tourism? You know.
So do you not think that rather than dispense so much time talking about changing the narratives, that we should rather start by actually showcasing to the world that we are now what you may call a born-again Africa, born-again continent, so that from one country to the other in Africa, we begin to see this transformation for prosperity, where our people don't have to go out in drones to this west and other parts of the world. Is that not where we should start from?
Absolutely, and that is why he's concerned about leadership that understands the economics of economy, that can make great things happen, that can unite the people, that can engender peace, that can bring progress, that we pay attention to education and not fight education, pay attention to health facilities. I mean, I am embarrassed to my bone marrows that in a stretch of over 7 years, my president is still going to the UK for medical attention. At least it's traumatic for me, you see. And let's start from there. It's about branding. Boris Johnson will not come to Nigeria for medical care. Not at all. Not at all. You see, so, and that is why some are asking, are we really ready to move? And some of us know it's all about leadership. So if we have leadership example that will say, no matter what may be happening to me, let me stay here to sort things out. Before Mandela left this world, his health was managed in South Africa. At a time, they had to go and replicate the medical facilities in his home. You see? So these are issues. Imagine, sir, that we have 4 refineries managed by the government, and we still go to refine our crude oil abroad and bring them in. And we claim to spend 100 billion naira to turn around dead refineries. And we need to change. We need to change.
We actually indeed need to change, and Nigerians are yearning for prosperity, that come 2023, that life should actually present greater fortunes to them rather than the hardship that most Nigerians are actually passing through today. Yes, let's move on again. So many issues, like I said in the beginning. Tomorrow is the International Women's Day, and here we are, men on this set, attempting to x-ray what the women have got right, what they have not got right, whether the incident that happened at the National Assembly last week was partially their fault or their inability to lobby, as many have said. So many issues. So tomorrow is International Women's Day, and that's across the globe. Nigerians will actually be joining their counterparts. Nigerian women will be joining women across the globe to celebrate and then protest. I understand it's going to be a platform to protest, particularly on the gender bill. The theme for this year is breaking the bias. That's so many bias against women. That's as far as their aspirations. There are so many things working against them. For instance, they're talking about breaking the bias, that celebrate women's achievements, and then raise the awareness against the bias, and then take action for equality. Now, women have always spoken about equality. What to you, this attempt to actually get more seats for women, do you think the men took the right decision last week by denying them that right?
Do I say they took the right decision or the wrong? It's politics, all right? And politics still remains a game of bargaining. And Mike Murdoch said, in life, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. So I just want to encourage the women to go back and strategize. And let me go scriptural, sir. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 27, Genesis 1:27, the Bible says, God made man in his own image. Male and female created he them. And in Genesis chapter 2, God now put Adam to sleep, the first man made out of dust. And from he took a rib and made that rib into a woman. And Adam woke up, oh, this now the rib, the flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone, she shall be called woman. And you cannot spell woman without man. If you remove the man from woman, you just have woo. You cannot spell female without male, and on like that. I do not want to see the competition. I like the advocacy that is going on. But let me ask a simple question. If man was made out of dust, and woman was made out of man, not out of dust directly, who should be more influential? Women should go back and strategize on how to drive with their influence. Let me ask a simple question. I have attended political meetings. Who are those who come with Ashwebi to clap, to dance, to mobilize? The women. That is a negotiating power. If you read Proverbs chapter 14, sir, Proverbs chapter 14, verse 1 says, a wise woman builds her home. A foolish one pulls it down with her own hand. So let the women first come together, rally around one another, remove all the jealousies, remove all the backbiting and everything, and consolidate. In Saudi Arabia at a time, women could not drive. Now they drive. You see, advocacy. Today we are celebrating Mother Teresa, Mary Slessor. Women are great. But you need to engage the space. And the children that are even being used by some of the politicians, who has given birth to them, you have influence over the processes. You see, so don't see it as a battle. And if you look at the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, there is a goal for gender sensitivity. So prove yourself. I just mentioned Okonjo-Iweala and great women that are doing, look at in her lifetime, Professor Akuyili, and so come out, get involved from the world level, local government level, state levels. Go out there. If some women come out now to say they want to go into politics, are women ready to support them? And we are likely to have more women than men in Nigeria if we do actual census, because if you go to town, you see more women moving around, except the men are hiding. And this is just a free advice I have for them. Strategize. Obviously, and I said it even before this rejection, passive rejection came up, that if you look at religious sentiments for some in the National Assembly, cultural sentiments, you may not fly, because some people do not just want to sit at the table with women. We know that the bias is there, but it's not something that should last forever. I spoke about Tanzania. Right now, Tanzania has a female president. I spoke about Singapore. A woman oversees Singapore now. Michael, a woman, just left Germany for another chancellor. So women are doing well. Women are great. And I want to advise, please, can you educate your daughters? Educate them. And may I say this, it's a very rare counsel. I discovered it. I'm engaging my daughters by the grace of God on this. Women should not be brought up to believe man should do everything. This is where the gap begins to manifest. Women can prosper. I've told our own daughters. God, when God created man in Genesis 1:27, in verse 28, the Bible says he blessed them. He says, be fruitful, multiply, have dominion over the fishes of the water, the birds of the air, over every creeping thing. So as man is blessed, woman is blessed. But in Nigeria, in Africa, for example, you have this mentality that, no, just leave everything to man. No? I disagree with that. So you are going into marriage, be ready to be diligent, go and read Proverbs 31. God prospers you, prospers your husband, you support, you make things happen in the society, you have talents, you deploy the talents.
Do you think the route that the women want to pursue now, that protesting across the country concerning the gender bill that was rejected, do you think you actually take them to the next level? I think getting the men convinced that they actually have the number, or that they can push their way through to get women to get the extra slot or additional slots in the National Assembly.
The protest will give them emotional massage, but may not deliver the results. I just said it now. If protest has a way in Nigeria, the pump price of petrol should be 72 naira now. So the protest will earn you visibility. But can you go back and begin to let men know who you are really, women? I mean, Adam in the Garden of Eden ate an apple, he didn't know where the apple was coming from. The apple was brought by a woman. Go and read Esther in the Bible. Esther handled the king in a way that the king called her, "You Queen Esther, you just told me somebody is out to destroy your people. That, what can I do for you? Up to the half of my kingdom, I will surrender unto you." And the man surrendered. What did Esther do? You don't struggle for
Aisha Buhari, the
bring out your influence.
Nigeria's first lady, was actually with them at the National Assembly, yet they could not push through.
But she went to Dubai to mark her birthday. That's what we are saying. Show leadership. This is a deep thing, and I hope we have time to address women. Show leadership. Deborah showed leadership.
Now,
Esther rose up to defend her people because she was there for a purpose. And governors' wives are giving us excuses now that they were in Dubai for something. At the time, the first lady even ran away, they said, because of security. Let's show interest in this nation. Let's show interest. And I'm telling the women now, and with all we are saying now, the next rally now, you see all of them, some of them in Ashoebi. How much is the Ashoebi? Sit them down. This is what we want. If women rise up in this country, that we don't want terrorism anymore, they may have their way. Go to governor's office. They know what they do now. You saw in Abeokuta when some women threatened to go out there half naked. You see, women are powerful, but you need to be organized. You need to collaborate.
Some of the actions of some of the women, do you not think it may also have impacted negatively on the way we perceive them? You saw the era 2 years ago when women came out, some women came out and called themselves, labeled themselves mothers or mothers of Yahoo boys. Now, such actions, do you not think it could actually impact, negatively on the way we perceive them generally? Such that
you always have different perceptions in every society. But sir, maybe for the purpose of time, I want Nigerians to go and read the Aba riots and find out who led the riots. Women, our daughter has an assignment now to watch the film of Queen Amina. We did history. Women are wonderful, but set your priorities right. In the Bible, it was the mother of King Lemuel that started counseling him. That you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. When Jesus rose from the graveside, now women first reached there now. Before men came, women were there.
We're talking about some biases. Women are saying that there should be more awareness about those biases against women. You spoke about cultural and religious sentiments, which may actually have been working against women. How do we begin to address such sentiments, such that women will actually be perceived, to have the same qualities as men?
I just mentioned some now, which is how do you raise your daughters, the female gender. Fortunately, I came from the Ologun family, Kakoko, wonderful family. Our parents broke down the gender barrier in raising their children. So I was raised to be a man and a woman at the same time. I was pounding yam for my father. If I cook for you now, sir, you want to pay me in dollars. I'm serious. And the women also were brought up to be educated. When my father died, the family payment of school fees continued. You know what I mean? So, sense of responsibility. So, it's not that if the man does not do it, I will not. No, you see, you need to rise up. You know what Mordecai told Esther? That Esther, you are not here to enjoy. That God has put you in this privileged office for a purpose. So let's begin to live purpose-driven lives. And I just said it now. With all due respect, I would have loved that birthday to happen in maybe if you are not a first lady, but it's a deep thing. But the women, go and study how women engage in Saudi Arabia. It will involve a lot of risk, and you must be ready to take that risk. Nelson Mandela went to jail for 27 years and he never surrendered. until the wall of apartheid broke down in South Africa. So when you want to achieve results, you must be committed to it. So I support the women. I support the success of both gender, whether you are a man or a woman. God has created you to be great in life, and you need to start from that self-awareness and express it. But please engage the system. Engage the system.
Now,
get involved.
2023 is around the corner. We've seen some aspirants, that have come out. We haven't seen a single woman. Is it that they have surrendered to fate? We've never had except maybe for Anambra State by accident, where a woman emerged as a governor.
They will come.
How soon do you think this will be? Is it 2023 or maybe?
With this awareness, I expect that they will be more active. And I just disclosed a secret now. You are the ones who will wear their ashoebi. You come and clap, you sing their praises. And when you are going home, they give you transport fare. And if I'm lying, please come and challenge me. I've seen these things. They give you transport fare. They give you a cooler for the prestigious women, cooler of rice. For the common women, this plastic of rice and bottle of water and a beverage. And you now cluster yourself at the bus stop waiting for buses, and they fly through with their siren. So they use you to get in there. So why don't you check with that? No. Before you even begin to talk to us about primaries or anything, let's sit down. Let's resolve this. Every man is born of a woman.
But at the family level, do we give the women, the young girls, equal opportunities as our boss?
By the grace of
I'm
God.
sure you're going to use your own example.
Yeah.
An average Nigerian, do we give our girls equal?
Let them learn. And the elders have a
Is that not where it starts from?
Yes, it's absolute. And that's why I'm passionate about education. That is like the industry in my family. Educate them all. You see, educate them all. And gone are the days, again, it's a dangerous advice. Gone are the days when parents, I'm training this child so that this child, I can depend on this child. Plan your life, plan your life so that whatever you get from your children will be bonus, so that they are happy. The pressures of this world are so tough now. And permit me to use this example. I don't know a governor that will buy a better vehicle for the mother than the one he drives himself. And that is life. So don't
repeat that.
I do not know a governor
okay.
that will buy a better vehicle for his mother than the one he drives. So these children have their pressures as they grow up in life. Some of them do not even want to live in one country. They want to live in Indonesia for two years, rush to Russia for 3 years, cross to Ukraine for
portfolio generation.
Exactly. So let's begin to restructure our orientation to life. What I am saying, that women are influential. And on the social note, sir, tell me a party that you can attend and enjoy where all those in attendance are men. But when women begin to show up,
world without women.
when women begin to show up, excitement begins to manifest, and that is how God has wired it. There is this funny reality. When God made Adam, it was too macho for God, and God said, I can do something better, something more attractive. He went ahead to make woman. In fact, Adam was excited, and so it's like, let's all enjoy this world. For me, I don't have any bias against. Everyone must be given the opportunity to excel in life. In my own family, I love the women, I love the men. We don't discriminate. We love, and we enjoy life.
Well, thank you very much on all the topics we've discussed. Don't forget that we discussed the lingering fuel crisis and the attendant consequences. We saw the case of the PMS being distributed at social function, and from there we transited to Obasanjo at 85. Baba is still being celebrated across the globe, and those words he dropped are words on the marble. We really need to work with those piece of advice he gave us. at that occasion. And then the last one is this International Women's Day. Would you join them to do the protest if you are invited?
I've not been invited.
If you are invited, would you join them?
If I
join the women?
If I am invited, I will profile the effectiveness of the protest. But I just said now, protests will end them emotional massage and visibility. But if you really want to occupy the space you crave for so much, please go and re-strategize and redirect your influence and go back to the grassroots and begin to show that influence. I know women are powerful.
Women are very, very powerful, especially in the other room.
According to your president, our president, that says in the other room.
In the other room. Thank you very much, sir, for your time and your thoughts on the program. I believe that those thoughts would actually translate into development, as greater development of our country. Don't forget, I told you in the beginning that APC has actually refuted the claims that there's a change in its leadership, that Malabuni is still the caretaker committee chairman of APC, that there's no change in leadership. We begin to see how events unfold in APC as the party edges towards its national convention come March 26. My name is Banji Busari. Thanks for watching this edition of the program. See you again on Wednesday. Thank you. Bye-bye.